However, there is an uncovering of great evil. And I will start from the top. I have shaken the Democrats and will shake the Republicans even more. Strange July, strange July. Hypnotic November. And oh, Christmas, where winter shall say, and me, I will make them happy. For God says, I have chosen each season to manifest something.
So summer is reaching to spring and to the fall and says, I'll be the mediator. And I mean, how much we saw happening in the summer. God said he would uncover, defend. I mean, we saw the exposed deep state in the behavior of these people around Biden, what happened with Biden, what happened with Kamala Harris. We saw all of that. He saw the temperatures and the hurricanes. And look at what happened with Hurricane Helene and what's just come out about FEMA saying, oh, avoid Trump supporters and the signs of the Trump supporters. So God allowed so much to be exposed in the corruption.
I stand alone, and I sense you close. My desire purified, my dreams are realized, and you carry me to the sound of your heartbeat, and I can clearly see that you have carried me on the wings of destiny.
Do you want to go to the mountain of the Lord? Do you want to go to the mountain of the Lord? 'Cause there is a place for those who are thirsty in the mountain of the Lord. Do you want to go to the mountain of the Lord? Do you want to go to the mountain of the Lord? 'Cause there is a place for those who are lonely in the mountain of the Lord. The mountain of the Lord, I can hear your voice.
In the mountain of the Lord,
I can touch your face.
'cause there is a place for those who are thirsty in the mountain of the Lord. In the mountain of the Lord,
I can feel no fear.
in the mountain of the Lord, your presence draws me near. 'Cause there is a place for those who are lonely in the mountain of the Lord.
Sing it again.
In the mountain of the Lord,
I can hear your voice. Sing it, everyone.
in the mountain of the Lord,
I can touch your face. Say it, everybody.
'cause there is a place for those who are thirsty in the mountain of the Lord.
Yeah.
In the mountain of the Lord,
I can feel no fear.
in the mountain of the Lord,
Sing it.
your presence draws me near. 'Cause there is a place for those who are lonely in the mountain of the Lord.
Worship the Lord. Give him your words. Give him your praise. Worship the Lord. Give him your words. Give him your praise. Surrender to the Lord. Give him your words. Give him your praise. He's worthy. He's worthy of our praise. Give him your words. Give him your praise. Come on. He's worthy. He's worthy of our praise. Oh, yes.
President-elect has tapped Congresswoman Elise Stefanik for UN ambassador. Former Congressman Lee Zeldin has been picked to head the Environmental Protection Agency. CBS News has also learned Trump plans to name his former advisor Stephen Miller as his deputy chief of staff for policy. And Trump has selected Tom Homan to serve as his administration's border czar.
Back here in the U.S., CBS News has learned that President-elect Donald Trump plans to nominate South Dakota Governor Christie as Homeland Security Secretary. This comes as Trump has been moving quickly to fill out his cabinet, securing prominent figures for his key roles in his administration. And that includes Florida Congressman Mike Waltz, who Trump plans to appoint as National Security Advisor. CBS News has also learned Trump is likely to nominate Florida Senator Marco Rubio for Secretary of State.
The former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee will be tapped to be ambassador to Israel. Highly significant position when you consider the current state of affairs that's taking place in the Middle East. In a statement, he said, quote, he loves Israel and the people of Israel, and likewise, the people of Israel love him.
President-elect Donald Trump filling his second administration at a rapid clip as he prepares to return to the White House. Trump just a short time ago announcing former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe as the latest addition to his administration.
We are hearing, this is from Cami Mondo, she's saying that Trump has announced Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will co-lead the Department of Government Efficiency.
Trump just announcing that our own Pete Hegseth will be his Secretary of Defense. Pete, of course, has been a host here at Fox for a number of years. He's an Army veteran where he served in Afghanistan, in Iraq. Trump saying, quote, Pete has spent his entire life as a warrior for the troops and for the country. He's tough, smart, and a true believer in America first. With Pete at the helm, America's enemies are on notice. Our military will be great again, and America will never back down.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Code Breakers analysis. What a week we have had. And so today we're going to have a look at some prophecy. Very important for us to have a look at some of this stuff now as we're going into the Hypnotic November. And so we're going to be looking at the season's prophecy. I have Christie Desfontaine from our Israel Update channel, and she's here today. Christie, are you there? And then, of course, Charlie Jordan. The great Charlie Jordan is also here today.
Yeah.
And you can see him on Prophetic Perspectives or Perspectives of the Prophetic. What is it, Charlie?
Perspectives of the Prophetic.
I never get it right. I see it every week and I never can remember. So, welcome, guys. How are we doing? How are we feeling?
Good.
You know, I think
Good.
I think just watching the way everything's unfolded. Obviously, we went live last week and genuinely have been rejoicing. And you're always going to get the people who say, "Oh, well, we can't rejoice too much." And it's like, well, look, God did a miracle. You know, at the end of the day, so many different things happened, and we really did see prophecy fulfilled, impossible prophecy. Considering the political climate and what was going on, we saw what was perceived impossibility being fulfilled. And that is something to celebrate. That is something to rejoice about, because I think we can get so stuck in a system and a cycle where we're constantly asking and feeling like we're not getting, and we did get something magnificent and amazing this week. And so I know we're going to be talking about it now, and you must stay tuned with us. We're going to be showing you some pretty incredible prophecy. But Donné, we started doing this in July, the seasons prophecies that your dad gave, and we have seen crazy things unfold over the last couple of months, and specifically in this last week. There is nobody left. I mean, I've spoken to some friends of mine who aren't Christians and have told them about what happened, and they just looked and went, "How?" And I was like, "He's a prophet." And they're like, "You can't argue."
Well, a lot of people have been waking up to that.
Yes.
In the past week, the amount of huge social media accounts that have shared my dad's prophecies have been such a blessing.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of us, after the 2020 election, a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about us here at the House of Destiny, but a lot of people, most people, especially Trump supporting people, were traumatized by what happened in 2020 with that election. And you could really see that, you know, because I was actively on social media and I was going on different shows on election night, and everybody had that nervousness of what are they going to do? They're going to cheat again. They're going to cheat again. And the one thing that I had was I knew these prophecies, and you warriors out there too, you knew what was prophesied. And so we had a little advantage with the prophetic there during the election. And then afterwards, we've seen this, I think a lot of people were waiting and not saying anything because they knew that was prophesied. But after 2020, people were unsure. And so when that prophecy was fulfilled in a miraculous way, because it was beautiful, and I never thought I'd say that about an election, but here I am. It was beautiful, the way that God showed up and the way that God showed up with his people. And I think that's the most important part of this, is that God didn't do it for us. He did it with us. And that's why we had to go through those 4 years. And even I did not understand that in 2020. I thought I had everything figured out. I've said this 1,000 times. And this has been such a learning experience for me, just as a person and as his daughter, that I watched him my whole life. And then still, I didn't have it quite figured out because God was in control of that situation. And so when it came to election day, I was worried, but I wasn't that worried. And so, yes, we started the summer looking at the season's prophecy, which was prophesied on Donald Trump's birthday in 2014, which was June 14th, where Dad prophesied about this particular, obviously, election year. And yes, Christie and I got together and we decided we're not going to wait till after July. We're going to move in complete faith here. After we've watched this prophecy for years and we knew it's not this year, it's not this year, we could see, no, this is the year. And there were indications, you know, the volcanic eruption, the prophecy being on Trump's birthday, those kind of things were little flags. And so at the beginning of July, we started Strange July because of the prophecy. And we did take a risk.
We spoke to each other and
we
said,
did that
should
Kim
we
Clement
do this?
style.
And we said, okay, your dad would, okay. Let's do
This
it.
is exactly what my dad would have wanted. This is I know he was cheering us from heaven
Yeah.
because we acted prophetically. And so all of you that were watching us were ready for that strange July. And what did we see? We saw Biden's dementia exposed in the debates. We saw the Trump assassination attempt. We saw the Democrats install a candidate without giving the Democrats a primary to choose their own candidate. They just installed Kamala Harris. They rushed through. They made very poor choices and really showed us what a Kamala Harris administration would have been like, because she ended up $20 million in debt after that campaign and wasted money on building sets and paying celebrities who are completely irrelevant and some of them evil, and displayed all of that, and was a complete waste. And it really shows you what that administration would have been like, and it would have put us in a much worse position. And God certainly stepped in, and he stepped in when that bullet was flying at Donald Trump's head. He moved Trump's head. That was, and there's so much about that, because the bullet hit him and there was the blood. He dropped to the ground and his shoes came off. And I mean, those are very significant things, right, Charlie?
Yes.
I feel like I should hear from you.
Yes. Well, I just, I'm putting down some notes here. You just mentioned something about Donald Trump's birthday, and you mentioned the 14th. So he was born on June 14th. Is that what you said?
That's right.
Guys, God, if you read through the Bible is full of codes, and numbers are very important. That's the reason why God chose the Hebrew language, because of the alphabet having different meanings. They mean different things. But guys, let's look at this. 2014 was the year that your dad got that powerful prophecy about impeach, about the Supreme Court, about all of this that we see that's going on. 2014, and then here this man, he was born, okay? He was born on June and the 14th, you said, right? And then let's look at these numbers. I like to call 2007 the year of the call and the election of Donald Trump, because it was in 2007 that Kim prophesied. I'm going to say it 5 times. We have 4 times, basically, I think, on video. But a lot of people don't forgot that on September 26th, or maybe a lot of people don't know this, but on September 26th of 2007, we were in Oklahoma City, and your dad started talking about Samson just out of the blue. He was speaking and preaching about something else. I remember this meeting so vividly. And he turned around and he looked at me, and then he started talking about Samson. And he said, why am I talking about Samson to you guys? And then he begins to go into the story of Samson. And then he brings it home by prophesying about a Samson who would have his hands tied. And if we look at all of the cases that came against Trump, especially the one that he received, the bogus 34 felony, that word is truly, man, coming to pass in a mighty way, because he said in that prophecy, your dad said, if they tie his hands to complete the task, I will break the ropes. Well, that judge, even though he just extended it, said that he's not going to bring those felonies against him until after he served his term. I love that word of the vernacular of God, because he gave this judge grace to make the right decision. And he said, if they tie his hands to complete the task, he hasn't untied his hands. Guys, that trial, Trump's hands were tied because his defense wasn't able to bring any type of collaborating evidence against, the evidence that they were using against Trump. And so all of this took place in 2007. If you look at that, and then you take Trey Smith's video about the sevens, and then you take 2007, okay, or you take 2024, and then you subtract 2007 from it, you get 17 years. You got all of these sevens, you got the 4s, and the 14s. And man, to me, God orchestrated this so beautifully. That's the reason why. And I agree with you. 2020 had to happen. 2020 had to be a time to where people could really begin to see the corruption, how deeply rooted it is in this country. And plus, Prophet Kim prophesied, I see a king falling, a wall not being completed because of a takeover. So God was showing us all of these things. And now we have arrived at this moment. And guys, I'm super excited. I know that what God has said, he's going to do. He says in his word, I will watch over my word to perform it. He has watched over his word. And I'm telling you guys, this is the time to rejoice, but don't relent. Don't fall back and say, oh, we've made it. No, the battle has just begun.
That's exactly how I feel, Charlie, is that we've overcome, and there's been this battle that we have now had a victory, but it's not over. It was the first, we've gotten, maybe not the first battle, but we've overcome in this one. And you know what's interesting too about what you were pointing out about the years is that 2007, he got all those words about Donald Trump in 2007. It was like a download that year. And it was 10 years later in 2017 that he was inaugurated president. Well, if you look at what was prophesied in 2014, we have February 22nd of 2014, where he saw the impeachments and the witch in the White House and the all the stuff he saw that day. And that was 10 years ago. Yeah. And as well as the seasons prophecy that we're about to look at again was 10 years ago. And so you have things lining up that could never have been even imagined by my dad. So you really know it's God. And as we sit in this moment in time, all of those little details are fitting together like the pieces of a puzzle. And Dad, you guys know this. Dad always used to say about code breaking and about the prophecies that it would be like pieces of a puzzle, or sometimes he would use the analogy of a tapestry being woven, and that we would see a big picture at the end of it, and that's being filled in more and more. And the more that happens, the more that we have a deeper understanding of what God is actually doing in this time. Again, we have the seasons prophecy where we have the strange July, Hypnotic November, and falls in the fall, and then Christmas. And so, and before we go, I want to play that prophecy, but I'm very glad that you brought up the prophecy about the king falling, because that prophecy, I almost actually submitted it this morning to play today, but I'm glad we didn't. You brought it up. We'll play it next time. But this was a very interesting prophecy because he was doing an offering. He wasn't prophesying. He was in the middle of praying over an offering. And he was talking about Cain and Abel. And he saw something in that moment, and it stopped him. And he was sitting down at the piano, and he saw Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Solomon. Now, at the time that he prophesied, this was April something of 2015, the beginning of April of 2015. At that time, Solomon, Crown Prince Solomon, was not the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, nor was he in line to be. He had some of his brothers died in a helicopter or plane crash, and he ended up being the next in line to become the Crown Prince only after, I think maybe even have happened after my dad died. And so very interesting he saw that, because I think he's not just referring only to Solomon and Yemen in the Bible, but this Crown Prince Solomon, and he was pointing out Saudi Arabia. Then he said, I see a king falling. And he got very upset, my dad did. And he said, there's a wall being built that will not be completed because of a takeover. And then he pointed his finger to Iran. And he said, Iran, you have wicked plans. And what we're seeing right now is they're being very, very protective of President Trump because of threats from Iran trying to assassinate him. And some people are sort of saying, oh, no, that's not true. It's the deep state. They're just making that up. It's probably both. But I think it's very interesting that you brought that prophecy up, because I was thinking about it all morning. And this is something I'd been quite concerned about, is to protect President Trump. There needs to be extra protection, and not just Secret Service and physical things, but we need to be praying for his protection, not till Inauguration Day only, but through this whole presidency.
Can I say
because
something
he is
quick?
really moving quickly. Yes, of course.
Sorry, everything that you've just been talking about now, we actually have that prophecy and an entire blog post up in our partnership. So I just wanted to throw that out there for everybody.
We do, yes.
We have an amazing partnership program, and obviously, we spoke about this last week. Everything is available online, but when you sign up and join our partnership, it's like $7 a month or more, and you can just, it's less than a Netflix subscription, and then you've got incredible access to literally everything. It's just a much easier search engine, and there's incredible blog posts as well that Donné's done, and there's analysis that we do for behind the scenes, and a whole bunch of extra stuff that's available there. But the specific prophecy that they've just both been speaking about, there's a whole in-depth analysis of that in the partnership. So I'm encouraging you to go and join our vault, and we are about to go in and play you this prophecy from Kim, but I really do just want to encourage everybody. We've started winning this battle. We know that, but like everybody's been saying, there's still a lot more of a fight ahead of us, but we're trusting God. We're standing firm on his promises. We know that he is righteous, and we're trusting that righteousness will prevail. And I'm encouraging you, as we go into this prophecy from Kim, people all over the world are starting to hear his name. So many people are thinking about this. And remember, for those of you that have been here all along, even those of you that, like me, wobbled in 2020 for a moment, those of you that have been here all along, we've had this available to us. We've had this right here in our hands. And just because this prophecy regarding Trump's second term has come to fulfillment doesn't mean that the prophecy is all done. There is still a lot more. There's still so much more that's coming, that's going to unfold. What we're talking about right now, we're in the middle of November. It has felt like a very hypnotic November. And so I'm encouraging you to give and sow into the legacy that is Kim Clement. I'm encouraging you and supporting, I'm asking you to support us and saying that this is what we want to do. His words are being heard around the world. And at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. It takes money for us to be able to do that, to be able to keep doing what we're doing, to be able to keep everything running the way that, we're doing our very best, considering the fact that now he's been gone for so many years. We're still doing the best we can. But when you sow, it's not sowing into something and, this person that was once here and was irrelevant. This is a man that God anointed and appointed for a time such as this, whose words have not fallen to the ground, just like the prophet Samuel. And so when you sow, when you give, when you join our partnership, you're doing something that is going to echo into eternity, and it is not being sown into dead soil. You are sowing into something that is alive. You're sowing into your future. And so I just wanted to encourage you with that, encourage you to give, encourage you to sow, do it with a cheerful heart, sow into the future, sow into the promises that we've seen fulfilled and the promises that we're anticipating being fulfilled as well. So I'll go back to you now, Donné.
No, thank you, Christie, for doing that, because people do need to know we do have this partnership program available. And it's something that we've been working on for a while, and we finally have it available for you. And like Christie said, of course, always the prophecies and the broadcasts are free. We will not charge for that. We're not charging for prophecies, but we have upgraded our prophecy vault, and we are building it still. So we still have footage that we have not digitized. And it is really, really important that you help us do that. So if you feel God's putting it on your heart to do that, join our partnership program, because we've really made it worth your while too. The School of the Prophets is in there, his teachings on the soul series. So much is in there for our partners. And so again, you can always get the prophecy database. You can always watch our broadcast. You can always access the prophecies, but we've made it a little bit better behind the scenes there. And like Christie said, that prophecy that Charlie and I were just discussing, that we just thought of in the moment, so we can't play it for you right in the second, you can find it in our vault. And so I encourage you to join it too if you can. But let's have a look at the season's prophecy again. And people are like, well, we've seen it before. No. The thing about prophecy, and this is something I've discovered, is I thought, oh, I know, I understand, I was there, I've seen it before. No, because when you're standing, like if you were standing live, and many of you were in some of those meetings with my dad, you're watching right now, you went to the studios, or you saw him at a church somewhere. When he was prophesying, oftentimes, certain things would maybe make sense, but not all of it. And how long and when and all these things were unclear, all of those things are becoming very clear now. So when you go back and recap a prophecy, especially after events have transpired, then you can go look. It's incredible. And so like Christie and I were saying, we started with a strange July. We saw what happened in July. We know that my dad prophesied 2 terms multiple times for Trump, and that has now come to pass. And so the other part is the Hypnotic November. So let's play that, and then we'll come back. Let's watch again. Pay careful attention. Remember, this was prophesied on Donald Trump's birthday 10 years ago. Once again, we see that 10 years. So let's watch it.
Summer reaches to spring and to fall. I will be the mediator, says summer. I will uncover. I will defend. My sun will shine. But yet beneath the earth, there is a rage. Eruptions. Summer says, why choose they me? Why do the tornadoes, the hurricanes choose me? I am summer. I bring smiles. I bring sunshine. I bring warmth. Yet there is a tumultuous rendering that is coming. I stand to protect spring, but fall. You are rebelling. Or is it that possibly the Spirit of God will cause many to fall in fall? Then there is the earth that wishes to tremble. Shake! For the nations of the earth stand waiting. He is quiet. He shall not return. This God is too quiet. But my mercy endures forever. However, there is an uncovering of great evil. And I will start from the top. I have shaken the Democrats and will shake the Republicans even more. But remember, when these tremors and when these tumultuous moments happen, Summer says, I will take it so that the fall can do its work in America. The auto industry of this nation shall rise, and they shall disappoint the expectations of the East. And they shall say, what do they have? Why does America still prosper? Princes of darkness and demonic powers are raging for these two extremely wicked terror organizations to be pierced with the sword of the Lord. Summer, take it. For thus says the Lord, I will prosper my people. And during the fall there shall be many that shall fall, and many that shall rise from the dust. The earth is standing prepared. I shall take it, for the summer shall bring forth much in the temperatures. Strange July, hypnotic November, and oh, Christmas, where winter shall say, and me, I will make them happy. For God says, I have chosen each season to manifest something. My will shall be done, and it shall come to pass that I shall bring sign after sign. And in the fall, that which comes down is that which was able to be shaken. And I will build and release the resources. And in the fall, will show you whom I have chosen to pray for and guide this nation. You shall rejoice, for it is my man. It is my chosen David, says the Lord. Come on.
Hallelujah. Whoa. There is so much there. I'm sitting here taking notes. Okay. So summer is reaching to spring and to the fall and says, I'll be the mediator. And I mean, how much we saw happening in the summer. God said he would uncover, defend. I mean, we saw the exposed deep state in the behavior of these people around Biden, what happened with Biden, what happened with Kamala Harris. We saw all of that. He saw the temperatures and the hurricanes. And look at what happened with Hurricane Helene and what's just come out about FEMA saying, oh, avoid Trump supporters and the signs of the Trump supporters. So God allowed so much to be exposed in the corruption and the hatred that has really been ignited by the left, but was on the right too. And he spoke about the Democrats and the Republicans. The tumultuous rendering. I love how he phrased that. That's very interesting. And fall rebelling. And those who would fall in the fall and those who would rise from the dust. So interesting how he said there would be an uncovering of great evil, and God would start from the top and shake both Democrat and Republican. I mean, what have we seen is that, people call it the uniparty now, behind the scenes, where they were over there, this one's Democrat, this one's Republican, but they were actually compromised and working together behind the scenes. And this has been exposed big time. And of course, the Hypnotic November, and then Christmas and winter says, I will make you happy, and how each season would manifest something different. And so we already have seen summer. We know what happened in summer. Now we're in fall. We've seen, as he said, you will know in the fall who is my man, my David. He's talking about Trump there, and we know that now. We've seen him elected. We're watching him all week long, as you saw in the beginning of some of the picks he's chosen for the administration and for the cabinet. And of course, that has been just everybody's focus this week, and what's going to happen with the Senate and who's going to be the majority leader, and Mitch McConnell up to his nonsense again. And so a lot of people are feeling, so it is feeling quite hypnotic, and then like we were saying, we have threats from Iran, and they're being extra careful and keeping President Trump protected, as they should be. So let me hear what you guys think. Christie, Charlie, how are we feeling?
Let me jump in real quick. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when he mentioned about the auto industry and how the East is, how is it that they are still prospering? Did you guys hear me start laughing and say, yeah?
Yes.
And so I just heard that, and I was like, God, why was I so excited about that at that moment? And but if you look at what's happening in the auto industry in this country, the mainstream media and the pundits that is behind all of this silliness, they've been pushing electric cars. They've been trying to get people or the consumers to buy electric vehicles. And you got to ask yourself this question, why? Why is it that they want to do this? Okay, because, a lot of the parts and especially the batteries, I think that goes, and now I can't speak about Elon's Tesla, but I know a lot of the vehicles that's coming out of Detroit now that are electric and maybe out of Germany. A lot of those parts, they come from China. They come from China. 70% of those parts that's on these current electric vehicles, I've read 70% come from China. Now, someone can fact check me on this because I'm not 100% sure, but I do remember doing a study on this and speaking about this. And so China, we've heard how China was wanting to have cars that were domestic cars, our cars, but to be built in Mexico. China wanted that to go down. And Trump said, not on my watch. When I get back in there, I'm going to stack a tariff on you guys that'll make your head spin. And so when Prophet Kim said that, guys, we are in the midst of seeing that come to pass, because remember when he prophesied about the big three, when he said, 2 of them will succumb, but keep your eyes on Ford, because Ford will not bend. Keep your eyes on Ford and invest, because when it goes down, when their stock go down, invest in it. We did. I know that I did, Donné. I believe that you guys did too. You know, I invested and stock went down and then it went up. And so I just, I just wanted to point that out because I heard me say, yeah, and I started laughing. I said, why was I doing that back then? But that's what's happening right now, guys. It's so excited to see how this, how God is doing this, and the prophetic word is being confirmed right before our eyes, man. It's so cool.
Also, absolutely, yes. And you know, the auto industry has been quite a topic through the course of this, Charlie. So you're right on about that. And I kind of had a feeling when I was taking my notes, I wrote auto industry disappointment of the East and seeing America prospering. And so that is a big part of it. And the tariffs and the plan with the tariffs, I think is a good plan to bring manufacturing back into America, bring jobs back into America, which will help America to be prosperous. And something else, you know, that I'm remembering as I'm sitting here is with the BRICS prophecies and the giants that would come. That Dad saw that while those cats and dogs are fighting, America will prosper. Meaning something will happen here. He saw new energy, death to debt. For years he prophesied that. And then he saw the BRICS nations, and what he saw is that eventually they'll start to turn on one another. And you've got to think about one thing God said to me about this years ago was, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so you have the BRICS nations over there, and they're all buddy-buddy right now, but they're traditionally not friends. And when things start to fall apart for them, they're going to start to turn on each other. He specifically indicated that North Korea and Iran would begin to bash their heads together in connection to the BRICS. I've got to remember what date that prophecy was, but I remembered that as you were saying that. And so it is so interesting. He also saw the 2 wicked terror organizations that would fall extremely wicked. And so we don't know everything yet, but this is a time of uncovering that we're in. This fall that we're in is that fall. And so many will be exposed, many will fall, many will rise from the dust. Those kind of statements we are actually beginning to see happen. And again, the biggest thing this week. Now, we're filming this right now. What you're watching on Saturday, but we're actually filming on Wednesday. And so,
Donné, what is the date today? I just saw today is the 13th. I just saw that the Senate has confirmed.
The 13th, okay.
John Thune, I think is how you say it, is the Senate Majority Leader.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes. So again,
we were rooting for Scott.
Yes.
And again, I've got my beef with Mitch McConnell over his choices, but I'm going to have faith in God and trust God.
You can do it.
And you never know what can happen.
No, we don't.
Really, he saw a hypnotic November.
Exactly. We don't know.
A hypnotic November. It's very interesting.
Also, Donné, something I just wanted to say. Sorry. People change their minds. If you look at J.D. Vance and what he was saying back in 20, whatever it was, he seemed really opposed and his mind changed, and that's okay. It's a good thing. Somebody that maybe criticized President Trump in whatever year it was, it doesn't, just because somebody says something once doesn't mean that's how they always feel and what they always believe. We have to give people the space to be changed. we are being changed constantly, and we have to give people the space to be changed and for God to work. Remember, this is something I always hold on to. If God could speak his word through a donkey, he can use a willing person. And we don't know the hearts of everybody, God does, but it's not reason for us to freak out just because it isn't like the person we would pick. God sees all, knows all, and he can work through anybody and do anything. So that's something I just wanted to say. We do not fret.
And it's a good thing you brought up J.D. Vance, because Carrie Lake is another one of those.
Yes.
And the whole journey has been about waking up. You remember Dad saw the scales removed from eyes.
Yes.
So along the journey, you have people who might have already been involved in politics and saw Donald Trump and must have thought, oh, that's insane. There's no way this could work. And then over the years and over time, as the scales have been removed from so many people's eyes, you now find that people who spoke ill of him in 2016 are, for instance, with J.D. Vance being a perfect example, is now his vice president. And so elect. And so a very good point, Christie. It's part of the waking up. And that's the thing I keep seeing is people will speak ill of people who support President Trump right now. And they'll bring up a post from, like you said, 2016, where they said something bad about Trump, or maybe a little bit, not as long ago. But they've woken up through the course of this. So many people have. And we do need to be inviting to that. We can't say, oh, well, you said something bad about Donald Trump one time, and so we can. You can't have that attitude because, I mean, as Christians, don't we understand forgiveness and redemption? And knowing what my dad prophesied, we also understand that people were going to wake up. I was on the Reawaken America tour, which was all about waking people up. So when they do wake up, we need to be welcoming to them because we need them to be over on our side, just the side of God. It's God's side that we want you to be on. And we're not going to be horrible to people and bring up their past and their sins and their mistakes, because we've all made them. And we are really becoming what Dad saw, and that is the American Party and the American people coming together, coming to oneness with God, as he prophesied in 2009 when he saw the Kennedys, and the joining of the Democrats and Republicans. He saw that in 2009, how unusual. He saw Kennedy's while prophesying about assassination attempts and then seeing God do this unusual thing. And so as we see this happen, I mean, even RFK Jr. was not that long ago speaking badly about Trump and running against him. Vivek Ramaswamy is another one. All of these people have come around because they've realized, no, this is the way to overcome the deep state and the foreign actors who are working against us. Dad saw them. There would be a nation itching for a new kind of war with America, and that is what we've gone through. And it is a war, and which has partially been part of it has been on the minds of the American people. A war against the American people, because why? Because America is of the people, by the people, under God, and so. Who do you attack? There's no king to go chop his head off and sit on the throne and say, America's mine now. They had to attack. And of course, militarily, that would have been very difficult for any country. So we've seen the use of media and social media and propaganda to attack the minds of people. And so that's why you saw so many people having like PTSD over an election. Which I've never seen that happen before, but people were traumatized by 2020, and like everybody is so invested in this so that you can see the effect of that. But the good thing is that Dad saw that America would rise to the occasion, and we saw that happen in this election, and it's not going to stop happening. But you know, if we're talking about propaganda, this brings me to the second prophecy we wanted to look at this week, and I'm going to let you kind of carry the rest of this, Christie, because you're more knowledgeable on the topic. But Dad prophesied about the rise of a Fourth Reich. He prophesied it first. This was in 2010. He prophesied it first from the Netherlands, and then from Paris, France. And so today, because of what we saw happen in Amsterdam this past week, we wanted to play you the Fourth Reich prophecy, the first time he ever prophesied it was from the Netherlands. And so, Christie, I don't know if you have some things you want to say before we play that prophecy.
Well, I think the thing is, a lot of people are kind of, we've gone numb to a lot of things that are going on, but the reality is that what we've just seen happen in Amsterdam is Jews being lynched and flogged and mobbed in the streets. And we've got a news clip to show you, and I don't know which order you'd like to do it on, Donné, because we've got the prophecy and we've got the news clip. And I think, I mean, it is, caution, you know, it's sensitive for people that are sensitive, but it's something we have to see and we have to face, because people tried to ignore what happened in the Holocaust, and we have not seen anti-Semitic levels like this since World War II, since the region was ripe for Hitler to rise because of what happened with the Great Depression. And then we saw the propaganda he fed the people of Germany for so many years until it became normal to them that Jews were being killed and beaten. And on the anniversary, basically, of Kristallnacht, which is, you know, the Night of Broken Glass, which was a precursor to the Holocaust, we're seeing the same thing start to happen in Amsterdam again, where Muslims are running through the streets, beating Jews, killing them, some of them are injured to the point of near death, but Israel had to send a plane in. The government had to deploy, some of their own to go and help and get Jews out of Amsterdam. When you think about that, it is the most obscene thing somebody could say in 2024. So I don't want to talk more about it because there's a news clip that's going to show it. But Donné, which order do you want to do it in? Do you want to show the prophecy and then the news clip, or the news clip and then the prophecy?
Let's do the news clip.
That's how I thought too. Let's go with the news clip.
See what we're talking about. Yeah.
And then watch what Kim said after that. So let's do that.
The Dutch have been shamed and shocked by a Jew hunt by Muslims in the streets of Amsterdam last week. I mean, Amsterdam, the city where a Jewish girl, Anne Frank, wrote a famous diary while the family hid from the Nazis until they were betrayed and most of them killed. But on Thursday, the Maccabi Tel Aviv team from Israel played Ajax, the most famous Dutch soccer club, prides itself in its Jewish links. Before the game, already Muslims and anti-Israel activists had planned protests and worse, online. Now, just a warning, some of this footage is really distressing. Adding to the tension, some Israeli fans chanted support for Israel's war and tore down one Palestinian flag. There are reports that some also brawled with the taxi driver, many of whom in Amsterdam are Muslim, as I saw for myself this year. Most Muslim, I would say. On Thursday night, after the game, the violence exploded. Men of Middle Eastern appearance ran down Jewish fans, others chased Jews by foot or scooter, hunting in packs, and bashed them, putting 5 people in hospital and injuring many others.
This for the children! For the children, motherfucker!
I give you my money, I give you, please go.
For the children!
I give you my money.
Free Palestine now! Free Palestine!
Women weren't spared either, and some of the mob fired flares at hotels where Jews hid, and told anyone they suspected of being Jews to show their passports.
Passport. Passport. Where are you from?
At least one Jew was thrown into a canal and taunted.
Say free Palestine and we go.
Free Palestine.
Good.
Come here, come.
This all added up to exactly what this driver filmed himself saying in Dutch. Today we're going on a Jodenjacht, a Jew hunt.
Vandaag gaan we op Jodenjacht, jongen. Op Jodenjacht.
You made an alliance. You were an ally to the Third Reich. There is a fourth one arising from the east. Take over your streets, to take over your children and remove Jesus. But the Spirit of God said truth will prevail. A cause will not prevail. And the people will begin to arise from the streets. And I will manifest myself in whorehouses. I'll go to red light districts. I'll begin to take them from their place of pain and turn it into a place of rain, says the Lord. Come on. Come on. reformation. But this time, God said, I'll use Germany, I'll use Italy. Yes? I'll use Holland, the Netherlands. I'll use France. They will stand, and they will stand against the spirit. And that'll be the countries that I'll begin a great reformation, and there will be an abolishment of the laws of men, and your young men and young women shall rise, 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 and shout, shout, shout.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see what he saw there. Take over the streets. We just saw that happening.
Yeah.
Take over your children. Now, the thing about the children in the school is that it is students who have been protesting and have been indoctrinated to hate Israel and to march against them, and also the immigration issue with Muslims going into Europe and just taking over and having open borders. This whole open border thing has become a real problem there. And then the remove Jesus part. And that's so important, because that has been what we've seen happening. I mean, you cannot watch a movie or go anywhere with that. You never hear Jesus. You never hear, you even saw in the Kamala Harris rally, where she sent them away when they shouted for Jesus. She said, "Oh, you at the wrong rally." Man, was that a big mistake. But the good thing that he was seeing there was that truth will prevail. And I thought that was just because it was quite heavy, all that. And then he's saying, but truth will prevail. And a reformation, he listed the countries. And remember these countries now, because we've seen them and we're going to still keep seeing them. Germany, Italy, Holland, and France. Now, when he went to Paris, he listed the same countries. He spoke about a short war. We're not going to play that today for time. But he spoke about a short war, and specifically pointing to Islam. And, of course, at the very end there, which I thought was so interesting, was the abolishment of the laws of men. And what do you see happening around us right now? I mean, over here in America, we've got Trump saying we're getting rid of, Javier Milei's done it in Argentina. We're getting rid of all this unnecessary stuff in the government. We have found ourselves bound up by law so much that people couldn't even speak. For years, we've been scared to just say what we think in America. It's unthinkable. It's worse in Europe. I mean, people are getting arrested in England over things that they tweeted years ago. I mean, it has absolutely gone insane. And so what we've started to see is, and it's starting in America, as we knew it would, with the Donald Trump, that my dad prophesied, that God not just chose, God made him for this. If you go back and you look at documentaries of Trump and his life and his journey, God put him on a journey and made him for this. Just like he made you for whatever your destiny is. He didn't just choose you, he made you for this. You were created, your personality, your likes, your dislikes, even your weaknesses, and what you overcome, what you could be, that God created you to be. And so it's not just about that. Donald Trump is a great example, but that applies to each and every one of us and each and every one of you watching. And so it isn't like we're on the outside looking at something like watching a movie. We're involved, we're a part of what is happening. And so it's so important that we have these little nuggets of prophecy to help us, because it is an advantage for us to know these things. And because you've heard the prophecies, and because you recognize when it's taking place, and you'll be able to see clearly what God is doing. There are many people who have not had that advantage, who have been lost in darkness and confusion through all of this. And some people have, because the effect of losing trust in everything, your mainstream media, your movies, your music, all these people you thought you knew and you thought you understood, a lot of people, it's really just come crumbling down for them, that they've gotten lost in the abyss of conspiracy theory. So there has to be a balance to everything. You've got people who are just completely lost. They don't know what to believe anymore and are creating stories. And so there is this conspiracy theory side of this that has happened, not because those people are stupid or bad, but because they've found that everything that they trust or thought they could trust, they can't. They've been lied to. You're going to see a lot of this happen with the Democrats. We've already seen it after this election. And the news sources that people trusted, especially the boomer generation who trusted the mainstream media. And now they're seeing, no, hang on, we are being lied to. And for some people, that's very difficult. And so we need to be praying for people. And we need to make sure that people know, because without God, that's a very dark place to be in. Because then you're sitting there and you don't have God, and you don't have, like we have here at the House of Destiny, we have the advantage of all these prophecies. And anybody who's seen them and heard them and knows what God prophesied, the people who don't have that are in a difficult place, some of them right now. And so you see women shaving their heads and putting on bracelets and doing all these things. And they're not bad people. They're lost people. And it is to them that we are called. Like we were saying earlier, you know, we're judging these people, or people are judging people based on things they thought 8-10 years ago. And obviously people can change their mind. And so the same goes for the left. There's many on the left who are going to wake up. Elon Musk is a great example of it. As soon as that thing touched him in his life by affecting his child, it woke him up. And he said himself, the minute that happened, it became my mission to destroy this woke mind virus, which comes straight from the devil and straight from the pit of hell. But those people, again, we must remember we fight not flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. And this whole experience has been such a good example of that, really. And how do we move forward as Christians is something that we really need to be looking at. We can't just be shouting at everybody and we were right and you were wrong. We can't have that attitude. We've got to be ready to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And when these people fall, that they're falling into the arms of God, and we are that for him as Christians. And so I really want to encourage people to give some grace and be willing to forgive and to love your neighbor and to love even your enemy, because a lot of people will be waking up now, and we've got to be ready to receive them. And again, a lot with things like abortion and with a lot of the anti-Semitic stuff, what you just saw, what people are doing and the way they're behaving, they're going to look back on that and be ashamed of themselves. And they're going to need forgiveness that only God can give. And so some of them won't be. And we know that too. I don't know, Christie or Charlie, if you have anything you want to add before we leave today, because we are running out of time.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Christie real quick. The parallel, like what was happening in the streets of Amsterdam that we just witnessed, that happened before, back during the Holocaust, right?
Yes.
And you know, you've heard that freaky thing when they say history repeats itself. This is something that the prophet saw, and just what's your thoughts on that? I mean, let's expound on that a little bit.
I mean, for me,
before we turned off.
Yeah, I'll say this in closing, I guess. For me, to be honest, when I heard Kim prophesy that, I thought there's no way. There's no way that the world will allow a Fourth Reich to arise. There's just no way. But what we're seeing happen is the only difference is that we didn't have cell phones to video it when it was happening in 1938 and 1939 through to the end of the war. We didn't have video footage, but now we do. And what we saw in that video footage, they're talking about going on a Jew hunt. The language is the same because the propaganda is the same. They're talking about how the Jews are cancer. It's the same rhetoric. It's the same language. It's the same spirit. The same spirit that infected Haman has infected Hitler, that infects Hamas and Hezbollah, is affecting these various people groups around the world to hate the Jews with absolutely no cause. And we are seeing a complete correlation, and the spirit that is rising. He said there'll be a Fourth Reich, and we're watching it. We're watching it on the streets of Amsterdam unfold before our very eyes. And the whole motto about the Holocaust is never again. But never again is now. We're watching it happen. The fact that that is taking place in Amsterdam, where Anne Frank's house is, one of the most famous figures of the Holocaust. We use this to teach children about the Holocaust. We use Anne Frank as the way to teach them about it and to teach them not to hate each other, not to hate other people. In that city, Muslims were chasing down and beating Jews and talking about going on a Jew hunt in Dutch. God help us, but we're watching it. We're watching it unfold. There's a lot more to this that I think we should probably cover on future broadcasts because of the time, but it's actually terrifying. And yet again, Kim Clement strikes again.
Well, the good news about the Fourth Reich is he saw it rise, but he saw it would fall.
Yes.
And so ultimately we know that
Yes.
this will fail.
It will fade.
And so yes, it will, absolutely. And so, and he saw that short war, and I've been watching for years. I kept thinking, is this it? Is this it? But now that I'm standing in this year, in this season, in this time, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now these things make sense. And I am in awe of God and what God can do, because he used my dad as his prophet. And of course, my dad is, there is no other prophet anywhere that I can find right now who has this level of accuracy anywhere. And so, something very special happened with my dad, but we definitely, the beauty of it is that you can see it's God. And he revealed to us what we needed to know, and we understand when we're meant to understand it. And so we are not done yet, my friends. We are in the middle of the Hypnotic November, and we're going to keep coming back every Saturday. And we're going to analyze each week, as we've been doing on Code Breakers Analysis. Yeah. And, don't stop praying. Don't stop praying for the protection, not only of Donald Trump, but of America. And pray for our brothers and sisters who have been blind, that they will see.
And picking up that, Donné.
And really pray for the protection of Israel and for the Jewish people who have suffered. Because whatever is going on and whatever they have suffered, in a terrible, it's just, it hurts me to see what's
Donné,
happening.
let me add something real quick, because you said something about people being blind. You've noticed that report came from an international media outlet. If you look at all of our domestic media outlets here, they didn't give that type of time. They didn't put that type of effort. I haven't seen that type of reporting about what just happened in the Netherlands with Jewish kids and this attack against Jews. And so we need to take our eyes off of the news media to the point of where we form our opinions based on what you are hearing out of the mouths of the prophets of Baal, because that's what they are. And so I would say, turn the channel, switch the channel, and go to the heavenly channel of God and begin to seek God at this time and in this season, because many things are going to be happening. And God has already shown us that these things are going to happen. We need to be in tune with the Spirit of the Lord instead of the spirit of Antichrist, because that's what the news media in this country is all about. They have nothing to do with Christ, just like in that prophecy. God said through Kim that they want to remove Christ. No, they can't and they won't. And it's up to us to be able to stand on that word and to declare it and to become it. You cannot and will not remove Christ, because we are here. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, Amen. He is in us, there is truly liberty. So I just wanted to add that.
That's beautiful, Charlie, and you are just so right on. Thank you so much for saying that. So yes, I think we're done for today, but join us next Saturday. Again, we're going to keep looking at this. We're looking at who is going to be in the administration. Again, we're praying for the safety and protection of Donald Trump. Don't miss any of our programming this week, too. House of Destiny Network, we have got something for you every single day. Tomorrow, I will be going live, Code Breakers Live. You don't want to miss that, 3 p.m. Central Time. Monday, we've got Prophetic Rewind. It's going to be really good this week. It's going to be a part 2 of what we put up last week. Don't want to miss that at kim.tv. And then Tuesday, Real Life, Real Faith. Wednesday, we've got Church with Fa. Thursday, we've got Charlie Jordan with perspectives of the prophetic. Charlie, I can never say it, but it is awesome. It is so fantastic to hear because Charlie was with my dad. Every single one of those prophecies that you see him prophesying, Charlie was right behind him on that platform. I was not there for all of that. Christie was not there for all of that. Even my mom wasn't there for all of it, but Charlie was. And so hearing from him it's just a beautiful thing that we have here at the House of Destiny Network, because you get a perspective from him that you won't get anywhere else, because he was right there in that battle with my dad every time. And so we are so grateful for that. And then Christie every Friday does Israel Update. And we've got Doobie Sabo. Most of you know Doobie. He's our correspondent on the ground in Israel. And Christie and Doobie are on it. They are keeping us informed about what is happening with the war and on the ground in Israel, and what is Netanyahu doing, and all of it. So don't miss Friday's Israel Update. Follow that. Follow them, because that's so important right now, because my dad prophesied on February 22nd of 2014 about what God would do in the United States of America and Israel at the same time. And we are in that moment now. And so you don't want to miss anything that's happening here at the House of Destiny Network. Join us, partner with us if you can. If you can't, you will still have access to the database and the prophecies and our programming. We're on all social media. We are everywhere. YouTube, Rumble, X. We have made sure, Facebook, Instagram, we're everywhere. We have made sure that everybody gets a chance, if they let us, because we've been censored a lot, to hear these prophecies. And so I encourage you to join us for all of this. Join with us. We are the warriors of the new millennium that God showed my dad in 1993. We are living that right now. And that's a whole other story I won't get into right now. But God showed us. Many of you already know, because you already know you're the warriors of the new millennium. And here we stand. And so don't miss anything. Thank you again to Christie and Charlie for joining me this week. We'll be back next week. And also, if you gave an offering today, if you gave anything to support us, of course, you can join the partner program, the Prophecy Vault. We're so excited about $7 or more a month. You can get access to so much that we have put aside for you. We've made that prophecy database a little easier in there, where you can read the prophecy transcript. You can watch the video of the prophecy. You can click a link, go watch the whole original broadcast that was broadcast live. Those are much longer, so if you have the time, then you can do that in there. And again, the teachings and the books and so much that my dad put into helping people to understand the prophetic and how to hear the voice of God yourself. And let me tell you, if there ever was a time for us to be able to hear the voice of God for ourselves, it's right now, because we're having to discern through media, through propaganda, through everything that we thought we could trust has fallen down. All we have left is God. And so we have to make sure that we are all hearing him first. That's number one, always. And so if you gave an offering, though, today, we have 2 books. If you gave an offering of any amount, this is a devotional that we would love to send you if you don't already have it. Just make sure that you click the QR code. If you don't like QR codes, you can go to our website and make sure you click the banner when you give your offering to let us know you want one. And we will send this to you. It doesn't matter how much. If you give 50 cents, we're still going to send this to you. It's a beautiful 31-day devotional, all written by my dad. And then this past year, we've released this new book, also a collection of my dad's writings, because he was incredible, called Prophetic Revelations, a collection of letters from the pen of Kim Clement. And so for a gift of $25 or more, we'll send you this. But make sure, again, click the QR code or the banner on the website to let us know that you want it. And we are so grateful for your support. And not only in your offerings, but in your prayers, continuing to come back here and watch us and stay informed and be in the code breaking with us. It's just been the most incredible experience. And we're so grateful for every single one of you. And so we thank you for everything and for staying with us through so much. That 2020 election, that was a rough time. And some of you are new people and you don't know what's going on here. Welcome. Welcome. We're glad to have you, and we're glad to fill you in on what the prophetic is all about and show you what we have here. And there's more. That's why we have the vault. We have got years of footage that we have not been able to digitize yet because it was in strange formats, like he was at TBN Studios and we've got these big TBN tapes. We don't even know how to play them. And so we're having to digitize and figure out how to do this. And so join us in that, because we're building this legacy so that at the end we'll have something that people can look at in the future. They can look back at it and say, wow, look what God did. In the middle of all that craziness, there were these prophecies from Kim Clement. And so we invite you to be a part of that with us. We thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
How can we focus on simple truths? How can we sort of get back to the basics of our salvation, walking that out with fear and trembling?
That is just where society is now, is everything is so flooded. So when you try to strip things away and just focus, it is extremely hard.
Keeping focus in this world is really critical. So I think we lose our focus in our marriages, we lose our focus with our children, we lose our focus in our jobs. You know, you go to a retreat and you get it all back, you know, temporarily, you know, whatever that retreat might be. So maybe that tells us that we need to focus and invest in the time.
Watch now at real-faith.tv.
Because of your overwhelming support, our $14.88 MyPillow has been one of the biggest sales in MyPillow history. I couldn't think of a better way to say thank you than to extend our wholesale pricing through Christmas. Get a classic standard MyPillow for only $14.88. Upgrade to a queen size, just $18.88. King size, only $1 more. Get my body pillows for only $29.88. And ready? Multi-use MyPillows, only $9.88. It's perfect time to stock up for Christmas gifts for everyone on your list. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our wholesale pricing. Including my classic standard MyPillows, only $14.88. But that's not all. I'm so confident you're going to love our classic MyPillows that I'm going to extend my 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2025. Plus, orders over $75 ship absolutely free.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.